In this video, I'd like to talk to you about the 9 empowering attitudes coming right up. What is up everyone, my name is KG and I'm back with another video. At any given time, we are always caught between two conflicting perspectives. Life happens to all of us, but we don't always react the same way. Our reaction in any given situation mostly depends on our perspective. So no matter what happens to us, there's always going to be an opportunity for us to decide how we are going to react to that situation. So in this video, I'd like to talk to you about the 9 empowering attitudes that we must all adopt if we want to feel more in control of our lives. Number 1, be responsible instead of being irresponsible. So in order for you to, be empowered in your life, you need to approach life in a way that you take responsibility for your mistakes, you take responsibility for your weaknesses, for your faults. No one is perfect. We all make mistakes. And if you do something that hurts someone, if you do something that you were not supposed to do, or if you did something uninformed or unintentional, don't consider yourself to be too important or too cool to apologize and own up to your mistakes. Life is a school. You are not always going to get things right. And if it so happens that, you take the wrong turn, if you say something hurtful to someone, whether it was intentional or unintentional, but come to yourself and apologize, own your faults, basically, is what I'm trying to say. One of the reasons why this world is in such disarray is because people don't want to take responsibility. People are constantly playing the blame game, and there will never be any forward movement or any solutions if people don't take responsibility of their shortcomings. Like I said, we all make mistakes. We all fall short of our potential. We all fall short of what we are truly capable of. So if you miss the mark, be humble enough and be mature enough to say, you know what, I apologize. I could have done better here. That is more empowering than being irresponsible and saying, yeah, well, I know I should have done this, but so and so also didn't do this. Blaming everything else or everyone else except yourself is not an empowered way of living. We only grow when we own up to our mistakes, and that is the attitude of being meek. You can't learn if you are not humble, and humbleness, humility, requires you to be vulnerable in certain situations, to say, you know what, I was not looking at this from the right perspective, but now that I know, now that I have this extra information, I changed my mind and I was wrong. There's nothing wrong with being wrong. No one is perfect. You are not going to get things right all the time. We are all in a journey of learning, but you are not going to learn if you never take responsibility. The second empowering attitude you need to adopt is being humble instead of being prideful. Regardless of your social status, regardless of your paycheck, regardless of your social rank, always humble yourself. There is power in humility. The Bible says the meek shall inherit the earth. And being humble, talks to respecting everyone regardless of who they are. It talks about, just always lowering yourself instead of always boasting, instead of always being haughty, instead of always being arrogant to say, yeah, well, I did you a favor. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't get this. Don't be that kind of person. People that are truly changing the world are people that are humble, are people that are able to sort of humble themselves enough to talk to anyone, because I believe that we can learn from everyone regardless of who they are. And if you are going to approach life with pride, then you will miss out on a lot of learning opportunities. You will miss out on a lot of opportunities to connect with different and diverse people because maybe you put yourself on a certain league. I do not associate with this kind of people. I don't speak with these kind of people, but by so doing, you are basically elevating yourself at the expense of your own growth because, like I said, we stand to learn from everyone regardless of who they are. So be humble. The third empowering attitude I'd like to talk to you about is be slow to anger instead of being quick to anger. We all come across situations where we are being tested, where our patience is being tested. And if you are going to react all the time quickly without thinking first, you will end up doing something that you will regret. So be emotionally intelligent enough not to personalize everything. Sometimes conflict arises, in a work setting, in a home setting, maybe between you and your partner or your spouse. And maybe because you want to protect your own ego, you might just react without thinking. In worst cases, people have killed each other because they didn't really pause to really think about the real issue. They didn't spend enough time to reflect on what the real issue is. They took everything personal and they reacted immediately. Those outbursts of anger, a whole lot of road rage incidences can be attributed to the same thing, where someone insulted you and you took that as a direct insult on your person or on your ego, and you reacted in a way that got you into trouble. So they say, he who angers you controls you. Don't allow anyone to anger you so much that you are not able to pause and compose yourself. Sometimes it's just a matter of walking away from the situation. When you come back, the anger would have subsided a bit. That's when you can start having a meaningful conversation with that person. And being slow to anger doesn't mean that you will avoid situations or you will allow people to walk all over you. All it means is, instead of reacting quickly all the time, thus making bad decisions, you give yourself time to sort of calm down, and also to give yourself time to think about the issue, to say, okay, maybe I didn't consider this person's perspective. Sometimes we may feel like we're being attacked because we are only looking out for number one. We're not really thinking about the other person's perspective. But you are not going to make that analysis if you are always reacting quickly. You can only have a clear, level head if you slow down. Just move away from the situation, come back when your head is clear. Only then can you then, come up with a sort of a formidable solution out of that situation. I always tell people that there's nothing wrong with conflict. Conflict it's an opportunity to sort of understand other people. But if you are going to see conflict as a negative thing, you will always approach it that way. You will always approach it with your defense mode already up, to say, yeah, what do you want from me? Let me tell you, this is how it is. But that is a fool's way of living. People who walk with wisdom understand the importance of wusa. They understand why it's important never to make big decisions when you are angry. The fourth empowering attitude I'd like to talk to you about is be a person that promotes unity instead of promoting disunity. It's easy for us to like people that are like us, people who look like us, people who think like us. It's a bit more difficult to like or love people who are different from us, whether they are different by background, they are different by ethnicity, or they are different by maybe how they see the world. It's very difficult for us to sort of accept or accommodate those people. But in order for you to be effective, in order for you to have a better way of relating to others, you need to approach people with an open mind. And you must understand that as humans, we have more in common than we have, differences. So always keep that in mind when you are connecting with different people. And there is power in unity. So when you put aside our differences, regardless of, this, I don't like this person because they believe this, I don't like that one because they believe that, that is disunity. Find what connects you to other people, and zoom into that instead of focusing on what disconnects you, because in isiZulu they say izandla ziyagezana, or umuntu ngabantu. So it's basically about the principle of unity, that there's power in unity. I believe that the enemy sows discord. The enemy doesn't want people to get along because he understands that there's power in unity. When you get along with your partner, for instance, you can build together and achieve more in a shorter space of time because you have the same vision. That is why the enemy would then sow conflict amongst couples, because he doesn't want people to be united, because that's where the power is. Even in your workspace, there's power in teamwork. So as much as people are not the same, there's a lot of diversity in the world. But when you are in a team context, focus on the commonalities, focus on what connects you instead of what disconnects you, because you will achieve more together. Approach your life with the mindset of, I'm always going to look out for opportunities to unite with people. Number 4, be someone who seeks growth instead of only seeking pleasure. You will never grow unless you are willing to make a few sacrifices in your life. The reason why a lot of people are stagnant, the reason why a lot of people are not growing or progressing, is because they don't have a growth mindset. Growth mindset requires you to get out of your comfort zone. It requires you to deprive yourself of certain things in order to make space for what you're trying to achieve. So having a growth mindset means that you will get rid of instant gratification and sort of delay your gratification for the sake of your greater good, later on. The reason why people don't grow, one of the reasons why people get stuck, is because they don't have a growth mindset. They are always thinking for now, and that reflects in how they spend their money. They work so hard for their money and waste that money at the end of the month, instead of having a growth mindset to say, how do I grow my income? And with that obviously comes sacrifices in terms of your time, where you would need to maybe stop watching so much TV in order for you to develop your business concept. It's about understanding that short-term pleasure usually has long-term consequences. Someone once said, if you pay now, you will have enough time to play later. But if you play now, rest assured, you will pay later. So it's very important to understand that if you want to grow, then you need to understand the concept of sacrifice. You need to understand that living for pleasure is only going to give you gratification now, but it's going to cost you in the long run. There's nothing wrong with enjoying life. There's nothing wrong with wanting to enjoy the finer things in life, but don't spend so much time focusing on pleasure that you neglect to invest now. Investment is not all about money. I'm talking about investing your time, investing your attention on something that is going to sort of give you fruits, or yield fruits for you later on. So that's what it means to have a growth mindset, as opposed to having only a pleasure mindset. Some people are just living for the weekend. It's like, hey, if I knock off, I can't wait to party. That's what life is for them. They're not really thinking about their future. They're not thinking about the fact that how you spend your time today will determine your tomorrow. Where you are now, believe it or not, is a result of your decisions that you made a couple of years ago. You are where you are because of your own choices, your own, lack of focus. So for as long as you are breathing, you still have time to regain control of your life. But you need to have a growth mindset. You need to understand that life is not all about going out. It's not all about having fun with friends. You are here on a mission. You are here to fulfill a unique purpose. But you are not going to fulfill that mandate if your only focus is having a good time. That there's more to life than just having a good time. The fifth empowering attitude I'd like to talk to you about is having faith for your future instead of fearing the future. If it wasn't for the belief that there's more to me than what I've already experienced, then I think I probably would have died a long time ago. What keeps me going each and every day, regardless of what comes my way, is my belief that, I'm destined for something great. I'm destined for a beautiful future. Life becomes a little bit more daunting and a little bit more scary if we are not optimistic about our latter days. If you believe that your future is going to bring nothing but gloominess or doom, then it's going to affect your present. You are not going to even enjoy the present moment because in your mind you have nothing much to look forward to. The only way to get on top of our challenges, our obstacles, is if we believe that after this there's going to be sunshine. That's how you need to approach your life. No one knows what the future holds, but it's better to be optimistic than pessimistic, because if you're pessimistic, not only are you depriving yourself of the opportunity to attract the good things that you want, but you're also depriving yourself from the peace of the present moment. If you know that tomorrow I'm going to get beaten up, obviously you won't even enjoy it right now because you're like already thinking about that situation. But if you have positive expectations about tomorrow, it also makes your present moment even more enjoyable because you are looking forward to good things. And being optimistic and having faith for your future also talks to one of the biggest principles of the universe, and that is the law of attraction. What we expect, we get. What we expect, we attract. So our thoughts create, our thoughts attract whatever that we focus on. So if you are going to be fearful about the future, then you will attract that undesired event that you are afraid of. Job said, "What I feared the most has happened to me," which tells me that as much as he was a man of faith, but he had some fears about the future. And when he was attacked, the enemy capitalized on that fear. Don't be afraid of the future because you can't change. There's certain things you can control, there's certain things you can't control. So regardless of what has happened to you thus far, don't sabotage your future by referencing your past. You need to believe that better days are coming, regardless of how hard your life has been up to this point, regardless of the fact that maybe up to now you've had a chain of bad events happening in your life. That doesn't mean that's how your life is going to end. You need to believe that after this, the story will change. If you keep on sort of flipping the pages, then a better chapter is destined to come. Number 7, be a decisive person instead of being a double-minded person or a person of indecision. Life is all about decisions, and if you struggle to make decisions, if you struggle to make bold decisions, then you are not going to change your life, because life is all about deciding what you want and going for it. Life is about deciding what you are no longer going to tolerate. For instance, if maybe you are in a toxic relationship with someone who takes advantage of you, who takes you for granted, until you decide to leave that relationship, you will remain in it. So decisions turn our lives around, sometimes for the worst, but sometimes it's for the better. So the more you delay making decisions, the more you delay your own progress. Life, like I said, is about making decisions. And there are people who struggle to make even the smallest of decisions, and I think that is somehow perpetuated by the modern world. We live in a world where there are so many options that we find it hard to choose, to decide what we want to be, what we want, what kind of TV I want. There's so many options out there. But with so many decisions to make in life, don't be stuck or don't struggle to make small decisions. Because if you struggle to make small decisions, you're going to struggle to make big decisions. And you would be contravening a universal principle. You need to make decisions. That's what life is about. And the more decisions you make, the more you make small decisions quicker, the more you can make bigger decisions as well. I'm not suggesting that you need to be irrational or make decisions without thinking, but I'm saying you will feel more control of your life if you make decisions. Sometimes you will make wrong decisions, sometimes you will make right decisions. But as you make more decisions, you are also training your instinct, because sometimes we may not have all the information to make the right decision. But as we make more decisions quicker, we also then get to be assisted by our instinct, to say, okay, I don't know exactly what option to choose here, but my gut says this. Your gut won't be trained if you don't make more decisions more often. So be a person that makes decisions. Life is about decision making. Where you are right now is because of decisions that you made or decisions that you didn't make. Number 8, be ruled by facts and not feelings. As humans, we have feelings. We are emotional beings, and that is part of our nature. But don't be ruled by emotions and feelings so much that you are unable to make rational decisions. Sometimes we make decisions based on feelings while we ignore the facts in front of us. For example, let's say maybe you are in an abusive relationship and the facts are this person is a narcissist. This person doesn't really love you because you found them cheating on you multiple times. Yet you stay in the relationship because of your feelings for them. You love them because of the emotional attachment. But if you are only going to depend on that, you are going to make your life miserable because you are ignoring the facts. It's always the case where someone maybe is in a toxic relationship and they end up being killed by that person. The signs were there all along, the facts were there all along, but they ignored them because they focused more on the feelings. When someone maybe is questioning this person, to say, but why are you staying with this person? I love them. That's the response. Sometimes, emotions can become our enemy, because if we make decisions emotionally and not rationally, then you may find yourself in a situation that you don't want to be in because you ignored the facts that were in front of you. Another context in which this principle can be explained is when you're making maybe decisions about your job. Sometimes when you are working, maybe you work in an environment where your feelings get hurt a lot, and you now want to resign because someone said something to you that you didn't like, and you don't really consider the fact that you don't have another job yet. So you want to quit on the spot because of your ego, because of your feelings that were hurt. You need to toughen up in life. So if you leave your job because someone said something hurtful that they probably even forgot about a few minutes after that, then you would have made a permanent decision based on a temporary event. That's what I mean when I say be a person led by facts and not feelings. Because if you are going to be led by your feelings, you are going to make rational decisions. You are going to swear at people. You are going to curse people, you are going to say things that you will regret later because you didn't really separate your emotions or yourself from the situation and focus on the facts. Sometimes we feel like people are attacking us because we personalize everything, only to find that this was not a direct attack on us. It was more of a reflection of my work. Maybe my work is poor and my manager calls me out. I need to take accountability. I need to take responsibility. But before I react, I need to think about the facts in front of me. For instance, is this person justified in saying that I didn't do 1, 2, 3? If the facts say yes, then I need to then put the emotions aside, the feelings aside, and say, okay, you know what, I could have done better here. It's all about emotional intelligence at the end of the day. And number 9, which happens to be my favorite one, be driven by progress instead of being driven by safety. I always tell people that nothing ever grows without being stretched. No one grows in their comfort zone. In order for you to progress, in order for you to move from glory to glory, for you to progress in your life, you need to be driven by progress and not by safety. Sometimes we miss certain opportunities because we are too attached to our familiar space. We are too attached to our comfort zones. But progress denotes movement. You can't progress and be at one place. Progress is all about movement. And as you move, you are required to disconnect from your norm. You need to be willing to say, okay, this part of my life has served its purpose, or this situation has served its purpose. I need to now move on to the next level. I need to move on to the next challenge. And, one of the reasons why we are afraid of moving on to the next challenge is because maybe we are doubting our own competency as it relates to the next challenge. I think it's human nature somehow that we like to be in control. So progress and finding ourselves in situations where we are vulnerable, where we need to learn, where we need to humble ourselves to say, okay, I was a master here, but I'm now a student again. That is how growth works. I think it was T.D. Jakes who explained this very well. He said, as you progress, say you are climbing stairs, say you are climbing a ladder, what used to be your floor at one level becomes your ceiling at another level. So that fear of being vulnerable, where you were comfortable at one level, and in order for you to move on to the next, you need to be a little bit uncomfortable, where you need to find your balance at this new level. And as you stabilize again, the next level comes with its own challenges. That is how life works. A lot of people are living beneath their potential because they are driven by safety and not by progress. So they'd rather remain where they are instead of risking being in a situation where they don't know, being in a situation where they are not the expert anymore. But you need to remain a student. Life is all about constant learning. It's all about constant development and progress. And you are not going to develop further and further if you are afraid of leaving your comfort zone, if you are afraid of leaving your place of safety. And that brings us to the end of the video. Thanks again for watching. If you liked it, please like, share, and comment. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't done so already. Don't forget to also hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload videos like this. Until next time, goodbye.